We'll use the other laptop next week, inshallah. Sisters and brothers, can you hear me in the home, or is it still frozen for you? Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. قال الله تعالى قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم إن الله خبير بما يصنعون. أما بعد. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most magnificent, the most beneficent, the most merciful. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all his ni'mah and favors that he has bestowed upon us. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the divine guidance, the tawfiq and the life to be present in this gathering today. Sometimes, due to frustration, anxiety, pressures of life, or sometimes even just sometimes it might be just due to the whispers of shaitan. A man could say that, I might as well, it might be better just for me to die. Might be better just for me to die. These type of thoughts could be dangerous. Could be dangerous. One man asked the Prophet ﷺ, Ayyun nasi khayrun? Which man is better? The Prophet ﷺ replied, a man who has a long life, and wahasuna amaluhu, and he has good deeds, and he does good with that life. He perfects his actions. He says, Ayyun nasi sharrun? He says, Ya Rasulullah, which man is the most evil? He goes, a man who has been given long life, wasa'a amaluhu, and he has corrupted his deeds, and his deeds have become corrupt, and that person is the sharrun nas. So, to be given life and to be given life with iman, it is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to be able to perform 5 times prayer is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to be a believer and to acknowledge Allah and to be given that opportunity to acknowledge Allah is also a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make us na'udhu billah wretched, that we would not acknowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the person who asked the question in this manner, the Shaykh, sometimes I have these thoughts that maybe death might be better than life. At least the sinning will discontinue. At least the sin will discontinue. He goes, what do you think? He goes, he shakes, he gives a very short, and sometimes he gives short answers, but he goes, listen, be courageous, be brave. Whatever deficiency you have in your amal, fix it. Why do you wish for death? Instead of wishing for death, whatever deficiency that you have in your action, fix that. That is the right thing to do. Death is not a solution. The solution is to fix the problem. And the problem is just fix whatever a man is. I mean, technically, what does Allah ask for during the day? Remember Allah and pray 5 times salah. Stay away from sins. Yes or no? Is there a lot to ask, mister? No? But you still, even, sometimes when a person, and when shaitan, when he overpowers somebody, when he, body slams you to the floor. It can happen. It can happen. It's difficult sometimes. A person feels overwhelmed. Person feels overwhelmed. He feels, man, I just thought I was on a good streak here, man. I was doing great. I was perfect. And then boom, accident, right? And now all of these thoughts suddenly come into the heart. Put those thoughts to one side and build courage in your heart. Seek forgiveness from your sin and continue forward, right? Understand? But to succumb to the, I don't know if I can, I'm not sure, it's too hard, it's too difficult. There's nothing too hard and there's nothing too difficult when you want to do something. When you want to do it, Chalil, man does it. Yeah? If your lover calls you from the other part of the world and says, Assalamu alaikum, please come. I'm waiting for you. Let's find the cheapest ticket. Boom, it's gone. He didn't have money. He didn't have the resources, but somehow he's put the pennies together. Somehow he got there. Why? Because he wanted to do it. When a person wants to do something, he will do it. Remember, if you want to do it, you'll do it. I was once, I won't mention it now. Remind me later. I'll mention it later, inshallah. But so now the next person asks a question. He goes, Sheikh, this tongue of mine, I can't stop it. Sometimes it curses people. Sometimes I curse others. Sometimes I can't say the right thing. Every time I speak, something harsh words come out. Something stupid comes out. Something that hurts the other person comes out of my tongue. He goes, the words that come off are also worthless. Sheikh, just do 3 things. How many things? 3 things. Number 1, be brave. Have some courage. That you have let the limb, the organ control you. Like, I can't, my tongue is so bad and it's so... Bhai, your tongue is bad because you're using it in that way. Stop using it in that way. Be brave. Right? When you want to eat something, do you eat it? Yes or no? And halal and haram and the lines become blurred. This chocolate is nice, mashallah. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Make the chocolate and down it goes. Because why? Because you wanted to do it. But I put some karele in front of you. I don't know if you know what karele is. Bitter what? Bitter melon. Bitter melon? What's the Sahih pronunciation in the Urdu language? Karela. I put some bitter food in front of you. Who loves meat? And nowadays everybody loves gosh, meat, chicken, meat, chicken, meat, chicken. The day mom puts dal in front of you, what's this, mom? Like, what's that? Like, what happened? We don't have any meat in the freezer today. Or if she puts the different type of meat, the lentils in front of you, there's different types of lentils, right? One is the regular lentils, one is the other type of lentils, and the one you don't like, lentils. So, man, it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna like. But khair, my question is, but when you don't want to eat something, do you eat it? Unless you're forced, but if you don't want to eat it really, do you eat it? No, you don't. Unless it's Kazim, it's like khalas, let it be. Kazim will, if you take him on a journey, you order just the food, your food. Don't order his food. Because whatever is left from your food, he's going to eat it. Alhamdulillah. And he'll keep it in storage too. Number one, what was the first answer Sheikh gave him? What do you have to be?
Brave.
Be brave. Control your tongue. Don't be like succumb to like my tongue is right. Control the thing. Number one. Number two. Even after trying to control your tongue, if it slips, then seek forgiveness. First, try to control. If it slips, seek forgiveness. Number three. Keep your meeting of your interaction with people less until you can't control. Because if you're going to go around saying bad things to people and hurtful things to people, how many times are you going to go seek forgiveness from the people? And rather than collect all the hukukul ibad upon you, other people's obligations, you'd rather keep that limited interaction. This is what the doctor prescribes, limited interaction. You understand? Those people who use curse words whilst they're talking, curse words, sometimes it becomes a habit in the, if a person, especially if you've gone to school here, like every other sentence is connected with something, right? It's just a matter of, in your heart of heart, are you that type of a person that is your, the speech that comes out of your mouth and the filth that comes out of your mouth, are you, in your heart, are you that type of a person? Ask your heart that question, and your heart will tell you no. So the psychiatrist says, if the answer is no, then it's very easy for you to stop. You understand? If the answer is no, then it's easy. You just using these words because it's used commonly, not because you are that person. Right? When sometimes two brothers meet each other, what's up, man? She bump some shoulders here. That's just being taught to you by society, by Hollywood, and that you're just following that. Not because it's like cool. Hollywood made you think it's cool. That's why you did it. Right? Cool is what Allah says is cool. Right? That, two hearts, when a brother meets another brother, it's like two people meet and, there's an interaction there, right? It's not like, there's no real love. On the other way, there's no real love there. It's all superficial. We talked about that last week. Artificial, we talked about that last week. Khair. So he goes, sometimes we're sitting with people, Sheikh. People get indulged in backbiting others, talking in a manner that is not appropriate, inappropriate speech with each other. So sometimes I think that, shall I just tell them to leave my house? Assalamu alaikum, guys. Oh, it's time for me to go to sleep. Oh, it's so late. Guests are sitting in your house. Gotta go work in the morning. No, you guys sit, no problem. Well, that's a hint, right? What's that a hint? What's that a hint for? To leave, right? Now the tea is done. We've had nice food and the tea has also been served. MashaAllah. What's next? Like, you sort of letting the person know it's time for you to leave now, right? So he goes, but the problem is that when they're indulged in backbiting, when people are around you, they're talking inappropriately, I want to push them out of my house. I'd rather not have them. And what shall I do? He goes, if the people are indulged in haram discussions, prohibited discussions, instead of pushing them out, you leave the majlis. You leave. Come back. They're still talking, go out again. They'll very quickly realize our discussion is inappropriate for him to sit in it. Very quickly. And they will change the discussion. Especially when the host himself is leaving. And then he comes back 5 minutes later, oh, you still, I'll come back. He goes, listen, if you push them out of your home, they might feel bad. But this is a better way of teaching them. This is a better way of teaching them. Sheikh, a person, this one today we have some quick answers and short answers. Sheikh's, he's with his, ready with his answers today. He goes, Sheikh, I'm being lazy in my routine. I'm being lazy in my dhikr. I'm not doing it. Give me a solution. He goes, what solution? He goes, you are saying that you're not doing dhikr, then do dhikr. What solution that I give? Be brave. Get some courage inside of you and sit. You understand? He goes, listen, if you be courageous, then inshallah Allah will give you وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. If you make the effort, the guidance comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just that when you don't make the effort, and then you say, Sheikh, give me some solution that I'm not making the effort. It's just like somebody writing a letter to his boss. Mr. Boss, I'm home sitting on my couch, but I'm feeling very lazy to get off my couch and get to work. Can you provide me a solution? What's your boss or manager going to say to you? Get here. Yes? Somebody he just send you, Jazakallah khair for writing this letter. No need to come to the office ever. Right? But if it was somebody like this, get in the office right now, right? Now the person asked a long question, but it's an important question. It's has many different points. Because I have something to say, can you just listen to me? She goes first to the teacher, just listen. Before you start firing, just listen to me. I don't have any worldly gain in asking you this, but it's very important. I just want to cure myself. Because the problem is, my heart, it doesn't stay in one direction. It keeps changing. And then he explains. He goes, I pray 5 times salat with khushu and khudu, with all of my humility and with love and everything. I do istighfar, I do durush, I send salutations upon the Prophet ﷺ, I recite the Quran, and I even curse myself, my nafs amara, I curse it, that you're this and you're that. And I even sit in muraqabah, sit in the remembrance of Allah. And at that time, I'm flying. I hate the sound of sin. I hate the sound of sin. Because a certain nur and tranquility enters my heart at that time. Because this state remains 2-3 months. I'm good. Couple of months, I'm great. Then boom, crash. It goes completely the opposite. I don't have the same salat, knows the recitation of the Quran. It goes, even when I sit in the remembrance of Allah, it is filled with many other thoughts. He goes, and the desires of sin increase in my heart. And the taste of sin comes onto my tongue. He goes, so much so that I feel an attraction to the opposite gender. And I want to interact with the opposite gender. And my entire time is spent on this thought that how will I make that possible? And how can it be facilitated somehow? It goes, all I want is to look at beautiful things. Student's brave. Student is a brave student. It goes, my night and day is spent in pursuing this. I can't even sleep when I'm in that mode. It goes, when I'm in that mode, I can't even sleep. Because then at the same time I have this worry. I have this fear that I'm doing this and the punishment is like the severe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is Allah going to do to me? And then whenever I'm afflicted with some kind of calamity or some kind of sadness, I feel it is because of what I've been doing, and immediately my heart turns. And I feel shy, and I feel like how shameless I was to carry out these acts. And then slowly my heart becomes very palatable again. It starts getting worried and it's fearful, and it starts praying salat again and astaghfar again and dhikr again and Quran again. Because that's my state. SubhanAllah. What a question. Good question, right? He goes, my age is 32. How old is he? He's on the peak of his shabab. You know what that means, right? Huh? Youth. Because this state of sometimes bust and sometimes qabs. Some bust means this, my praying, so sometimes I'm praying and sometimes qabs, I'm not praying. He goes, by Allah's, I give you Allah's, by Allah, please tell me the solution and the remedy for this disease. It goes, it has turned my life upside down. I guess Allah has given you the quality to put my crooked heart straight. Give me something, tell me something, what shall I do? He goes, I've met many people, but not many people have that time to spend with me. Nobody's going to have that time to fix a soul like myself. He goes, you do something. You do some tawajjuh. Answer. First part of it is, your state that you have mentioned is not unique to you only. The state that you have mentioned is not unique to you. You might think it's unique to you, but a lot of people are also in the same state. Many people suffer the same way that you are suffering. And the major cause of this, which has been the theme of the beginning of this today, is the lack of courage. Major cause of this is where you succumbing to the impulses of your nafs, is lack of courage. And what's the opposite of having lack of courage is what? A person is, if a person's coward, what's the opposite of cowardness? Bravery, right? Being strong, being courageous. Be brave, be courageous. You are the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are not the servant of shaitan. You are the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not allow shaitan to grasp you in that manner. Do not allow, and if he does, seek forgiveness from Allah. Remember Allah, he will run away from you. He will run away from you. What's that? I read this verse. I think I read it on Friday. What's the verse? I'll tell you in a minute. You were there on Friday. You were there on Friday.
In the tafsir?
No, in the afternoon, in the Jummah khutbah. He was there on Friday. I was saying that according to the verse of the Quran, that if a person remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ما من شيء أطرد للشيطان من قول لا إله إلا الله. There is nothing that expels shaitan, casts him out. It casts him out of your heart, throws him away, than the word of La ilaha illallah. Because the moment a person reverts back to the word La ilaha illallah, shaitan runs away. And there's another one. And he gave that verse as his proof. And it's just, it'll come to me slowly. So, it goes, number one is to be brave. Do not allow shaitan to shadow your heart like that. And if he does, turn towards, run away from your situation. Go and sit with the pious. So he goes, because the first thing, as I tell you, is the first thing. To strengthen yourself and to gain assistance in strengthening yourself, I'll give you a solution. Solution is, go and sit in the company of good people. Go and sit in the company of good people. That strength will be automatically, it will increase. Automatically, when you feel, and go and call your friend and say, Salik, do you wanna go out and have some food? I'll pay for it. The other person might not understand. He doesn't. Go and sit in the company of good people. Don't run away. When you want to run, come back. When the fleet response, what is it? What's that? There's a fight or flight response, right? When you have that, fight, not flight. Fight, don't run away. The worst thing a student or Salik or anybody could do is to deprive himself from the good company. That's the worst thing that you could ever do. And the moment you move away, you will see it yourself. You will see, yes or no? You'll see it. You will see it yourself that you nosedive. Never deprive yourself from that company. You know where your betterment is. He goes, there's another book called Alchemy of Success. Kimia Sa'adat. In Urdu, he's saying that if you are unable to attain the company of the pious, then read this book. But obviously that book is Kimia Sa'adat, is Alchemy of Success. It's available in English, and it's also available in Urdu. So he goes, read that book. I'm not sure. I'm sure you'll find it somewhere.
It's by Ghazali, but I think the person who translated it to English, I think they're a little bit left-leaning.
Left-leaning?
Yeah.
Is it a good translation? I think I have it somewhere. Didn't we? No, we didn't do the book.
We didn't do the book, no.
Yeah, but okay. It goes, and also, let me know how you're feeling, and let me know what you're going through, which phases that you're going through, and then I will inshallah assist you. It goes, as far as that strength that you're talking about, that I put some strength inside of you. It goes, nor that strength lies in me, and nor do I have that capability to affect you like that. I am just a student. Sheikh is being mutawadi here in his answer, but he already gave him the answer first, that go and sit in the company of the good people and the pious. That effect will automatically be transferred inside of you. He goes, then he asked this question. He goes, Sheikh, I have two wives. Sheikh, I have two wives. But my eyesight still wanders. My eyes still wander to other women. It's not limited to the two, it still wanders. By the way, if you don't control the eyesight, even if you had four, it will wander. If it doesn't matter, if you don't control it, with one it will wander, with two it will wander, with three it will wander, with four it will wander. It will wander if you don't control it. He goes, looking at strange women, I'm preoccupied in doing that. He goes, when I glance at others, that thought comes into my heart. Answer. He goes, without any doubt, this is a sickness that you have. And the solution to the sickness is to do mujahada. Make some effort. Make some effort. It goes, not just any type of effort. It goes, you need to place a force against your nafs. A force. It goes, zor, a big force. Repel it with big force. You need to put a big, really extreme force against your nafs. And so much so that if you ever make the mistake again, there should be some kind of a penalty. And the penalty should be severe enough that your nafs will start hurting. It goes, for example, for every incorrect glance, 20 rakat nafal, tarawih. For every incorrect glance, 20 rakat. Oh, Allahu Akbar. You guys will be praying all day, man. For every incorrect gaze, 20 rakat nafal. Because he gave an example, but obviously Shaykh giving the example is, because if you say, for every glance I'll give 10 cents. Your nafs will probably say, I can afford 10 cents. I can afford 10 cents, right? It's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt. The nafs is like it's a lion to the one who doesn't stand against it. It's a bully. You stand against it, it's very weak. But it's a lion if you allow it to overpower you.
So like the opposite of the will.
Yes.
Free will.
Yes. So you want to do something, suppress that. Like you want to look at something which is haram, so you suppress it. How do you suppress it? That you do something that it doesn't like 20 rakat of nafal, or for every incorrect gaze give $10 in charity.
So nafs is not desire.
Nafs is desire, is your base desire. You can let me explain the nafs to you in a very those thoughts that you have inside of your head. Mostly they're driven by your nafs. Mostly. If they're angelic, you'll know that they're good thoughts. But mostly they're designed by your nafs. So that you understand it. So I'll give you an example. Your nafs says, when is this majlis, when is this going to finish so that I can go home and have something to eat? Now, having something to eat is, you're not starving. Even if you were to go to sleep today without eating, you're not going to die. Are you going to die? No. But you want to eat because your nafs is addicted to eating at this time. So it's an animal of habit. Right? If it doesn't get something at a certain time, it will rebel. It will be upset. It will be inconvenience, but that inconvenience is good. Are you married? Oh, do you have a baby? No, yet not yet. Allah give you many, inshallah. But you know, if you those of you who had experience with children, right? Baby wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you feed it. Guess what? Next day is 4 o'clock in the morning, it'll be up again with food. And the next. Baby wakes up in the 4 o'clock in the morning and say, oh my darling, oh shit, the nafs go, oh wow, this is nice. Next day goes, give me the same treatment. How come today I'm not getting the same treatment? Because the nafs desires it. You understand what nafs is now? Yes? Now, do you work? Okay. Tomorrow morning you gotta go work. Gotta get to work in the morning. Like that. Oh, I gotta get to work, right? Your nafs doesn't like going to work, but it likes the reward, it doesn't like going. But once it's there, it's okay. But the initial, right? Wake up for Fajr. Wake up for Fajr. Nowadays, Fajr is at what time? 6 o'clock, 5:45. It's coming in. But when the Fajr time starts coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you have to, in order to wake up for 5 o'clock and getting here to the masjid for 5 o'clock, what time do you have to wake up? 4 o'clock, like 4:15, right? Or now, that is effort. Now, does your inside of your voice, when the thought of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and making wudu and ablution and going, the thought, does it make you happy, or does it? That's difficult, right? That's your nafs inside, because it's habit. It doesn't have a habit of doing it. You understand, right? So, and then you wake up in the morning and you want breakfast, right? Why? Otherwise, what's there to, you've already gained a couple of extra pounds. If you didn't have breakfast and you bypassed it, what's the big deal? But you want it. It's habit. Your nafs wants it, because even, a baby's nafs is no different than a man's nafs or a woman's nafs. We are creatures of habit. And when our habits are broken, we rebel. Or we submit. And usually, when you take yourself out of your comfort zone, when you bring yourself out of your comfort zone, is when you are able to suppress the nafs, because you're out of your comfort zone, right? If you're all sitting here now, if I ask you to do something, you probably do it, even though your nafs might not want to do it, but you'll do it. So I say, go, everybody, before they go today, pray to 4 rakat nafal. You'd probably pray it. Do you know why? Because I asked you to, but your nafs inside goes, oof, Next week goes, I wonder if he's going to ask us to pray 4 rakat nafal again. You understand? Even though I've asked you to 4, I'm not even asked you to do 20, right? But you see, I'm trying to explain to you what your question, so that you really understand what the nafs is. Your nafs is all the. It might not necessarily. Eating is not an evil thought, but it's your nafs. You need to understand the difference. You understand? So, you drive a nice car, you see a better car, and your nafs goes, wow, that's better, that's so nice. And your car seems cheap, but even though your car is expensive, right? But it seems cheap in front of a more expensive car. That's your nafs. Your angelic part will say to you, be grateful that you have one. Your angelic voice, the angel inside will say, be grateful you have one. It says, oh, mashallah. And at that time, you go against the dictates of your nafs. You don't allow that thought to continue. That means you've suppressed it. You suppressed it a bit. So the more you go against that, the more powerful of a human being you'll become. Yes.
So when you say angelic thoughts, so these are the thoughts that are being given to me?
Yes. So every person has a shaitan and an angel next to his heart. The shaitan gives you bad thoughts and the angel gives you good thoughts.
So the nafs is shaitan.
Shaitan is the nafs is you. That's you. The nafs is you.
Shaitan.
The shaitan whispers to your nafs and the angel gives you good whispers. The shaitan gives you bad whispers, but the nafs is you.
I am not.
You are the nafs. You have to now become, if you want to become angelic, listen to the angel. If you want to be, na'udhu billah, Allah forbid, will become satanic, listen to the shaitan. You understand? That's how the nafs is affected. That's how a person becomes. Now, we're talking about protecting the eyesight, not looking at things that is haram. Today we're surrounded by social media, right? Everything on social media is haram, mostly, right? Mostly everything is haram. So now, like, and really, you do not get to the point of zina. You do not get to the point of zina. You do not get to the point of doing something haram until the eye first doesn't start indulging in haram. The eye first starts taking in all of this information. And then there is an overload of information on the heart. The heart goes, now, I need to do something about it. So not the heart, the nafs. The nafs goes, I need to do something about it. So the nafs tells you, okay, look at this, look at that, do this, go here, go that, go and find this, go and find that. You understand? That's what happens. And if you don't listen to your nafs, it's suppressed. You put some locks on it. When you put some locks on it, a light will form inside. A light from Allah forms inside, which then which pushes you towards good. When you do something good, it opens the door to do another good and another good. And that's why sitting in the company of good people is the most beneficial way of fixing oneself. You get it now? It's the easiest way. Easiest way. There is no easier way. Like sometimes parents complain, my son this and my son this. Say, can you bring him on Tuesday? Oh, it's so difficult to bring him on Tuesday. I have to get to work. Well, then how am I going to come there and fix him? You're not going to, it's not possible like that you go and to a teenager's home and said, you need to listen to your mom, you read 10 instructions to him and say, yeah, whatever, assalamu alaikum. But nothing is going to affect him until he's not out of that environment and he goes and sits with somebody else, and he goes and sits with other people who are also trying to be good people, right? And then you think, okay, mashallah, these people, if this person can sit in muraqabah, in the remembrance of Allah, I can also sit. You get encouraged to do good. And if you're far away, even listening to the lectures and even joining in the session, the Zoom sessions, and listening, at least you're able to listen to the good that is being discussed. If you're far away, if you cannot go, then at least you're listening to people. You're not just depriving yourself of this information. That is very, very, very important. If you ever feel in your life, listen, if I'm alive or if I'm not alive, if you ever succumb to the whispers of shaitan, you don't need to write to any sheikh. You don't need to come to my grave. What do you do? What do you do? Huh? Say it loudly. Go and find somebody and sit in his company. Don't look at anything. Don't say a single word. Go and find somebody and sit in that person's company. The change will come automatically. You understand? This is something that each person needs to learn, how to get himself out of sticky situations. If you want to get yourself out of sticky, muddy situations, don't look. You don't need to pick up the directory. You don't need to ask Google, or you don't even need to ask your local AI anymore. Or AI, what shall I do? Can you please write me a nice letter to to the teacher that he. Now that I heard you can write letters. What's that called now? Chat GPT, huh? GPT chat, right? My son was showing it to me the other day. He goes, he just put in and the whole letter was written. Like, wow, man, that's cool, right? But anyway, you've not heard it? Good. No need. All right. But what I'm saying to you is this is the most easiest, most convenient. It's easy for you to do. Just sit in your car, drive to the masjid, go and sit with somebody. Even sitting in the masjid itself, even if you don't find nobody, just come and sit in the house of Allah. The moment that you sit in the house of Allah, you're staying away from sin, right? Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Verily, salat refrains a person from shameful and evil acts, right? From Mr. Farhan. Ji. In order to progress forward, you have to come and sit. Khair. Oh, where was I? What was the question?
We were talking about
The long question?
the condition of the student.
Oh, the guy has 2 wives. And he still can't control his gaze. So what I was saying to you, it doesn't matter if you have 10 wives or 15 wives, not that it's permissible. But if you don't control your gaze, you'll never control it. The desire is like a fire. The more you feed it, the more it will burn. The more you feed it, the more it will burn. And the flames will just go higher and higher. And then your desires, na'udhu will become warped. Eventually will become warped. And warped desires is a different topic. So he goes, you have to go against your nafs with full force. And if you make a mistake, there needs to be a penalty. And he goes, for example, one illegal glance, 20 rakat of nafal. Oh. He gave an example, but he's clever even giving that example. He says that don't give an example that your nafs is not even going to feel it. Give some kind of a punishment that your nafs would feel it. He goes, yes. Then you pray more nafal. The nafs will tell you not to pray the nafal, but that's the whole thing. You have to have courage. You have to have courage and say, no, we have to pay for the crimes that we've committed. Obviously, your nafs is not going to be inclined towards prayer. But you might be surprised. Once you start praying, you'll pray it. Once you start it, the nafs doesn't allow you to just do that initial. But once you start, it's done. You get it? Like, for example, Sheikh gave an example one day. He goes, if you're ever in bed and your nafs is saying to you, oh, continue sleeping, sleep a bit more. He just wants you to, the nafs just wants to go to sleep, right? Because he doesn't want to break its sleep. So you say, okay, I'm just going to stand up and, sit on the bed and see how so then after you stand up and says, after you sit on your bed in the corner of your bed, the bathroom's just there. I might as well just walk to the bathroom and, get fresh. When you get into the bathroom, it says, now that I'm in the bathroom, I might as well make wudu, right? Oh, well, now that I've made wudu, I might as well just pray 2 rakat salat. You slowly get your nafs to that point. Slowly, like massaging your nafs, like slowly to that point that it will do it. But it's just, and then eventually there'll come a time when you'll jump out of bed, right? In Ramadan, everybody jumps out of bed for suhoor, because otherwise the nafs jumps out of bed for suhoor. Guess why? It doesn't want to starve the next day. So you just put your alarm on, put another alarm on, tell that guy to wake you up, make sure they wake you up for food. Have you ever overslept in Ramadan and you had to keep the next day's fast without any food? Who's done that? Did you die? Or was it just normal? It was normal. Nothing happened. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. You felt the same as you did the day before. Little bit of hunger right to the end of the day. You might have felt a little bit of pang at the end, a little bit of thirst just after Asr the next day. But you slept the whole day anyway. Most of it. Just trying to see this whole every Tuesday is just trying to understand who you are. All of this that we're doing is to give you an understanding of who we truly are. Then you can then when you understand who you are and how the internal machine, your internal machinery, how it works, then you can start, okay, now I understand how this system works. Now this is how I'm going to do it. Get it?
So I had a question about the nafs as well. When I was at UMBC, I had a friend, a Catholic, and he heard me and somebody else talking about the nafs and fiqh and stuff like this. And the way I tried to explain it to him, and I just wanted to know if this is correct or not, was I brought up how Freud divides the mind into three thirds. There's the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is what causes you to, go
just keep it simple.
Eat, sleep, attraction, stuff like that. And the superego is that which kind of calls you to something, what is morally right. And I said that the id is kind of parallel to what we call the nafs. The nafs, and the superego is what we would call the fiqh. There's a parallel there.
I mean, if you you can try to understand it that way too. I mean, there's whichever way you understand it, but you just got to understand that the voice inside of your head says that when you get that voice inside of your head, just analyze. Am I going to get reward for carrying this out, or am I not going to get reward for doing this? If you're going to get reward, do it. If you're not going to get reward, there's something wrong with it. You understand? So it's just when a person analyzes himself, he will very, very, very quickly understand what's coming from which channel it's been broadcasted from. Is this broadcasting from my nafs? Is it broadcasting from my ruh? Is it broadcasting from the angel? Is it broadcasting from the shaitan? He will know. And then muraqabah obviously helps you. Muraqabah helps you in building that criterion inside of your heart, that you start distinguishing, okay, this is this is that. And sometimes the nafs can overpower you with such force that you don't know what hit you. And one day you were an angel, next day, na'udhu billah, all the actions down the drain. Everything down the drain. And then now you're doing actions that are completely haram, right? But again, but to take oneself out of that pit is very easy. Come back to the remembrance of Allah. Come back to the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sit in good company. Jazakallah khair. The next one is a bit of it still continues, by the way. Now the Sheikh is dedicating, these are all questions in regards to the same type of issues, similar type of issues. So you are going to be learning a lot about yourself of what you already know. Do you get that? You didn't know that? You're going to learn about yourself what you already know about yourself, but you just didn't acknowledge it. Khair. Any questions before we do muraqabah? Yes.
I have a question regarding nafs and shaitan. Sometimes when I make dua, it feels really nice, but then I start to feel guilty or ashamed, or even embarrassed sometimes when I start making dua for things that I feel like are out of my reach, like for a family member, a sick family member, or like my country or something like that. I'll try to tell myself that who am I to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something that He already has plans for. But then I'll have this other thought where wow, this is very humbling, this is good for you. But then that also goes deeper, and I start to think that that's from shaitan trying to.
Making dua for one country, other people is a great thing. Is a very, very, very good thing. Shaitan is depriving you of the reward of millions of people who are going to be benefiting from your supplications. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward you for the du'as that you have made for the entire country, right? For every single person living in that country. Do not be fooled by shaitan by not making dua for them. And if you get these thoughts, they're fleeting thoughts, allow them to come and let them disappear into the distance, and you just continue doing good. You just continue doing what is right. If you've ever heard your teacher saying that this is right, do it. Understand? So you just say to shaitan, well, how come that can't be right? I heard my teacher doing it. But khatam. You get it? Easy. And do not think yourself as insignificant in the sight of Allah. You should be insignificant in your eyes, but in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are important. You understand? That's why He gave you life. Who gave you life? Who put you on this world? No human being did that. If Allah put you here, that means you're important to Him. You understand? Allah brought you into existence, yes or no? Nobody else brought you into existence. If Allah brought you into existence, that means you're important to Him. If shaitan says to you, you're not important, who are you to ask Allah, Ya Allah, give me your close proximity? Shaitan was thrown away from Allah's proximity. So obviously He's never going to allow you to get close to Allah. That is something, so if it's very easy to tackle. Unless shaitan goes, who are you to make dua to Allah that you, insignificant, you want to get close to Allah, Allah Almighty, the Azim, the Hakim, the Alim. Yeah, because Allah has asked me to make this dua on the blessed tongue of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbak. Ya Allah, I ask of you your love. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked that, wa hubba man yuhibbuk, and the love of the person who loves you. وَحُبَّ عَمَلٍ يُقَرِّبُنَا إِلَىٰ حُبِّكَ, and the love of those actions that will bring me close to your love. Did the Prophet ﷺ teach us that dua? Then who's shaitan to tell you that you're insignificant to make that dua? You understand? So shaitan's job is to sway you. Everything that you hear from here, he knows what you're hearing, right? He's already putting the countermeasures in place. So he goes that these guys are going to go from here armed with this. So him and his army have already making a plan on the other side of this wall, saying, okay, all of these people who are sitting and listening to this, what's going to be our countermeasure? They're going to counter it. You understand? You need to be brave and courageous. Do not let every single shaitan's plan work against you. At least let one fail. You understand?
Yeah.
Be brave. And then if you can't, just stay here in the masjid. Go to work, come back. Go to work, come back. Until the nafs of yours, he goes, please, let's go home. I won't tell you again. The nafs will eventually say, listen, I submit. I won't tell you again to do that. Just don't do that again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He was going to give the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam the Quran, did the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam commit any sins? Before prophethood. He was on the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salam, worshipping Allah, going into the mountains. But he goes, before he received prophethood, he goes, loneliness, being lonely was made beloved to him. Meaning staying alone in seclusion was made beloved to the Prophet ﷺ. So sometimes sitting in seclusion with Allah in His house is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Sitting in seclusion with Allah is not a bad thing. When Allah gives you tawfiq to sit in His house in seclusion, if He gives you that tawfiq, that means He wishes to give you something. Allah doesn't let anybody just sit and come in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah brings those people close who He wishes to bestow. Now, if you refuse, Allah has different rules for different people. Taw'an wa karhan. You try to run, He'll hold your ear and bring you back. You try to run and away again, bring you back. You understand? Allah, this is also Allah's mercy. This is also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to give him what? Tawrat. So He says, okay, sit in itikaf for 30 days. 30 days! Sit in itikaf. Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what I'm saying to you, that sitting in seclusion and sitting in the house, that was mandated by Allah to Musa alayhi salam, even though Musa alayhi salam was already pure from sin. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to elevate himself further spiritually so that Allah can bestow upon him something. That means there needs to be a person needs to elevate himself spiritually for something to be given. Ramadan is coming, make intention for the itikaf, inshallah. Understand? Jazakallah khair. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi subhanallahi al-azim. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. Let's sit in muraqabah. Focus your mind to your heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. You remember me, I'm going to remember you. Sit in any position that you're comfortable in. If your legs get tired, move them, no problem. Allah says, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. You remember me, I remember you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He remembers His servants, Allah's special attention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's special attention turn towards those servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and blessings come down from Allah and it enters into the heart and it takes away the darkness of the heart. And you in gratitude, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowing you to sit and remember Him. In gratitude, you are going to remember Allah by saying, Allah, Allah, Allah. And you're just going to continue repeating that. And if your mind wanders here and there, just bring it back and start remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, don't let it continuously wander. Remember that you're sitting, and we're sitting so that we can focus, inshallah, on the remembrance of Allah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. جزاك الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.